So this week's Parshas Chukas. It starts off with the red heifer about purity and how to purify yourself through the many things that we did back then, which will only happen when Mashiach finally arrives. Now, then we go into the next phase and we speak about the waters, and then how Moshe hit the rock to get water. And Hashem said to Moshe in front of Aaron to speak to the rock. Speak to the rock. Moshe hit the rock out of anger. Now there's another explanation of this through the Rebbe, where it explains that the reason why Moshe and Aaron didn't go into the land is because they didn't listen to Hashem. For one, why Aaron? Moshe hit the rock. Aaron watched and he didn't do anything about it. But the contemplation in Moshe's head, and the fact that he's a leader, Aaron knew what he was doing was right. And what it was that it was underestimating the Jews. That you could speak to a rock, and the rock would just open wide and just listen and spill water. What's that say about people? The fact that we don't have faith? The fact that, that we don't believe. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in our leaders. We don't believe, and the stubbornness. Because when we're told to do something, not always do we jump on what to do. Especially with the loved one, with our partner, with who we're married to, or even people around us. When we fear, or where we don't act on kindness, we don't act on goodness, and we act on fear. He didn't want to undermine the Jews to show that the rock listens better than we do. But then you see there was more faith to come along. We walked through the desert and a bunch of poisonous snakes are attacking the Jews. And because where we landed, and the snakes are just biting in a snake pit. And the snakes are just biting. And Moshe says, if you want to live, look up. Look up. Always look up. Always look forward. Always move straight. And if you will, you'll live. You'll live, because when you believe, you live. You live. Also, we're getting closer to Israel. And there's and the lesson learned about the spies who went out the first time, the 12 spies, and they searched the land, and 10 of them came back with no confidence of taking over that land. This time the people ran in and charged. We charged the land with no fear, and we learned our lesson. Every time you fall because of fear, you'll learn a lesson and you could always get up. Be a lion. Be fierce. Be a warrior. Be a warrior. That's what we are. We're warriors. We're all warriors within ourselves. But we have to train that here. Now, I don't mean warriors to go out and destroy cities and conquer. No, conquer your city. Conquer your world. Conquer yourself to where you can make a move, make a change, make a rise. No matter how hard you have to try. Everybody have a wonderful SHABBAS, and make this SHABBAS stronger. This SHABBAS, think about Hashem. Think about true faith, and think about true faith in yourself, and watch everything come in. But for married couples, your wife is the blessing and your husband is the blessing. Treat each other well. For the men, we have to do more for our wives. We have to do more for our wives because all the blessings come from her. All the shalom bayis comes from her. All the peace comes from your wife. You want a happy home, happy life, happy wife. But you have to keep the wife happy. There's ways. Don't just fall in love, or don't be just because it's a need. Want the good things everywhere around you, no matter what it is. There's a difference between marital relations and sex. Big difference. Big difference. Sex comes in all kind of situations and in all manners of thoughts of the mind. There's different people that have different sexual preferences, you know, different tastes, and sometimes it's not in the most holiest ways. People go to clubs and lounges to pick up each other. Men are horn dogs, women are as well promiscuous. You put yourself in this situation, or like, let's even talk about this Bill Clinton and Epstein thing. You know, go on vacations to molest little girls, to sleep with underage girls. Or men that go to prostitutes to cheat on their wives. Women too. I saw the game. I knew the game. And it also is the same type of thought that even a child molester can have, because he wants sex with something in his preference and what he prefers. These are all thoughts in our mind. These are all thoughts that we can control, but we choose to move on impulse. Impulses shouldn't control us in a negative aspect. I mean, listen. When you put something in your head, you will chase after it, whether it's negative or positive. We are capable of controlling our thoughts. We're not animals. I had pit bulls in my life, and I saw how animalistic they are. They would hump anything. They didn't care what it was. And people behave the same way. And tragic things happen sometimes. Sometimes people hurt one another due to the fact because we just wanted to have an intimate moment. Because they end up getting feelings for each other and energy sucks on each other. You give over energy and energy gets left on you. No matter what, when there's just a sexual relationship between people, it could be a headache. When you get married, you're doing it because you want to be whole. You want to be together. You want to have a wonderful life. You don't want to have issues. There's people that don't argue in their marriage at all. People have quiet homes. Ego destroys a lot. You have to be humble. You have to be humility. It speaks about death, but there's a positive in death in the living. And you can destroy your negative attributes. You can learn to control those negative attributes. They can be out of your system if you don't put that negative thought in your head. This week's Parsha gives a lot of lessons that people put negativity in their head and they fell and they died. Keep looking forward. Keep moving forward. Keep looking up. Keep praying to God. Keep doing the work. You got to put in work if you want to get the returns. But you have to put God in front of you first. Everybody, again, have a wonderful Shabbos. And always think I could be successful in whatever I want. But it has to be right. It has to be right. And give charity, people. It always works. God gives you the money. You should give it into the right places to people that need help. Always give charity. Always give charity. Whatever you feel like giving, whatever you're capable of giving, even if in your worst times it speaks. When you give charity, you'll see a big return for it. Don't worry. Don't fear. God has His plan for you. You just got to pick that right path. Again, wonderful, wonderful Shabbos to everyone.